A team that not too long ago was in the Premier League now find themselves with a potential relegation threat into the 4th division of English football. They've got difficulties both on and off the pitch, plenty going on, and a financial crisis too. Today, we're going to try and rebuild Reading FC. That's right, we're going to try and rebuild Reading in today's video, giving ourselves 5 seasons as manager of the club to try and take them out of their current situation and into the Premier League. But before we start, I'd just like to point out that by doing this, I'm not trying to make light of any current situation going on at Reading. In fact, I hope that if you see this video and you don't know the situation, you do go and research it. Hopefully that way we can shed more light on the current situation. If you don't know, they were taken over by a mega rich owner when they were very close to going up to the Premier League in a playoff final. They did lose that final. Since then, he put quite a bit of money into the club at the start, but he didn't really follow any of the financial regulations, leading to Reading getting hit with points deductions, leading to them being now in League One when only about 15 years ago they were in the Premier League, and they look like they might be dropping into League Two. He doesn't seem to care about the club too much anymore, and fans have recently got a game abandoned after storming the pitch and asking for him to sell up. The reason being, obviously the situation they're currently in, but also previous clubs that this man has owned have ended up collapsing, being folded, and we're really hoping that won't happen to Reading. So yeah, just want to say, not trying to make light of the situation, but hopefully if there's any Reading fans watching, this can at least give you a little bit of relief from the situation going on in real life. You can see what a virtual version of your club might be able to do. Now, with that being said, let's kick this rebuild off. We're predicted to finish in 13th place this year, despite the fact that Reading are currently in the relegation zone in real life, and we've got 20-1 odds of winning the title. Now, the reason I think we are that far down is because we have a -4 points deduction, meaning that we start in 23rd place. Wigan start actually in 24th with -8 points, so maybe we can rebuild them somewhere down the line. Our best players include 31-year-old Ghanaian international Andy Yiadom. The game also rates Paul Mukiaru very high as well, who's on loan from FC Copenhagen. And Nesta Guinness-Walker is a very talented left-back with plenty of potential at the age of 23. And speaking of potential, we've got lots of great youngsters too, like Tyler Binden. Connor Boyce-Clark is a young goalkeeper who actually might be ready for first-team football. And Nelson Abbey is a centre-back at the age of 19 who could potentially start for us with lots of potential to get far better than he currently is. Financially, the club has us down as having £1.7 million in the overall balance, but around £80 million of debt. And that does mean in our first transfer window, we've got absolutely nothing to spend. But that wouldn't matter anyway, because the club in-game is actually under a transfer embargo. We do have some pretty good facilities, so we might have to rely upon our academy to produce our talents over the next few years. But we'll see what we can do in the transfer market. Hopefully this embargo lifts and we can bring in some players to help us this season. Before we get into the transfers though, if you guys could do me a huge favour, I'll be massively thankful if you could just scroll down and hit that like button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm get this video out there to more people, which is obviously great for the channel. And speaking of, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, if you're in this big percentage of people that aren't currently subscribed, I'd really appreciate anyone hitting that subscribe button so we can get to our target of 30k subs, which we really now are in the last stretch of. On top of that, feel free to comment down below what team you want to see rebuilt next. Every rebuild we do is based on your suggestions. And finally, if you want to continue this rebuild yourself, all the save files will be over on my Patreon, which you can find linked in the description. Over there you can support me as a creator, and it really does help in trying to make YouTube a bigger part of what I'm doing career-wise. And in return, you'll get access to the saves at the end of each season, season 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so you can give it a go yourself and see how you get on with this Reading team. And transfer-wise, we really didn't do a lot. We weren't able to bring anyone in because of our current situation, but we did make a little bit of cash for the club, selling 19-year-old promising youngster John Clark. Sheffield United came in, 850k, rising to 1.1. The Premier League side wanted him, he wanted to leave, and it helps us get some cash in a position where, as much as I would have liked to have had him, we do have some other players to play there. Tactically, this is the formation that we're going for in Season 1, a very aggressive 4-2-4 formation. We have lots of great strikers, and I'm trying to make use of that. This is our current best 11, and I'm going to run through all of the players in these positions very quickly for you. Firstly, we've got Connor Boyce-Clark, who you met earlier, a Jamaican international keeper. Andy Yiadom is our captain and right back. We've got Tom Holmes at centre back, who is an academy product who's been at Reading for a number of years now. Our other centre back is Tom McIntyre, a 24-year-old, again an academy product, which we're relying upon very heavily in this rebuild. We've got Guinness-Walker at left back. Sam Hutchinson, the former Chelsea player, is our best defensive midfielder, alongside Charlie Savage, the son of Robbie Savage, who's came in recently recently from Manchester United. Femi Aziz is a wide player who has taken a very strange route to get to Reading, making his way through the lower leagues, and he's been very good for us in our first few games this season as I've been working on transfers. Mukiaru, who you've met, is playing on the left. Then we've got Kelvin playing up front alongside our other striker, which is Don Ballard, who's on loan, I believe, from Southampton, who looks like at this level he could be a top option. With that being said, our team is ready to go. We'll see how we get on in season 1, and because we've had this embargo, I'm going to extend the rebuild to be a 6-year rebuild instead of 5, so you don't miss out on a season of transfers. And actually, Season 1 has been a huge success for us, and thankfully, in this virtual world, we've really put any of these problems to bed that Reading are currently having. We've managed to get back into the Championship on the first time of asking, with a -4 points deduction, which if we didn't have that, we would have topped the table. We finished second on 87 points, only to Blackpool, who finished top. We were winners of the EFL Trophy in the final, beating Mansfield 2-0, so we've won a trophy and we've been promoted back into the Championship. But what I think Reading fans will care more about is the fact that Young, their current owner, has left the club, and we now have a new man, Andy Wilcox, taking over. They haven't exactly pumped money into the club, but we don't really want them to do that. Instead, they gave us a little bit of a boost, and then being promoted has really helped us. We now have £8 million in the balance. Our debts and loans seem to have been written off with our owner leaving, and we've got £4 million in the transfer budget. But to stop us ever really having this problem again, the board have imposed a 25% transfer revenue plan, meaning anyone we sell, we're only going to get 25% of the money from. And we had some great performances that we can really build off. Mukiaru got 11 goals on the left. Kelvin up front scored 23, proving very talented at the age of 21. Our centre-back, Tom McIntyre, somehow chipped in with 14 goals across the season. God knows how. I promise you, if we go to tactics and set pieces, I have set nothing up, not doing anything crazy. I think this is just the staff recommendation set pieces, so no idea how we have done so well there. We've also got 15 goals from Femi Aziz. The 22-year-old has been fantastic on that right wing. The only problem now is a lot of these players want new deals because we've been promoted into the Championship, and I'm not quite sure we want to keep all of them around forever. So we've got a big window ahead of us in Season 2, so now we can really kick off our transfers and get this rebuild started. Firstly, the sales. Harrison Solomon, 21-year-old centre-back, has moved to Tranmere for 20k. Mamadi Kamara, who played quite a lot for us last season, was sold to Magdeburg in Germany for 300,000, and they loaned him back to us with no cost, which we're definitely going to accept. And Michael Strickland, a young 20-year-old centre-back, has moved to Burton for £300,000 in League One. We're now a Championship side, so I think we're okay to let him go. Coming in, we've got Dylan Williams on loan from Chelsea, a 20-year-old versatile left-sided option. Dominic Ball has signed permanently from Ipswich on a free transfer. His contract expired. He didn't play at all last season, but in those defensive midfield positions, he already comes in as one of our best. Former Liverpool talent and previously of Preston, Ben Woodburn, 24-year-old Welsh international, has signed on a free contract. His contract expired last year after not many appearances for Preston in the Championship, and he comes in as one of our most talented players. Another defensive midfielder on a free from Ipswich was Lee Evans, a 30-year-old Welsh international. He's really been making his way around the English divisions, playing for a bunch of clubs, and now he is a Reading player. Dayalang Jayasimi is a 26-year-old wide player that we've signed on a free contract. He was let go recently from Charlton by the looks of it, having been loaned out to Wimbledon and St Johnstone, and our scouts recommended him as a good player for both the left and the right flank. We've got a Belgian striker to help us get some goals this year. This is Ronald Emond. He's joined us on a free transfer after his deal with Standard Liège was up out in Belgium, where he started 13 games and came off a bench 23 times. We also have the Albanian striker Sokol Sikaleshi. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he has came in again on a free transfer. That's all we've really looked for in this window. He's been playing for Konyaspor out in Turkey, scored a few goals there, and hopefully that will translate well into the Championship. And then maybe the coup of the summer for us is signing Kenan Yildiz, the young Turkish international who's playing for Juventus and actually scored a goal in his 2 appearances there last season. I believe in real life he is now playing for the first team of Juve. Could be wrong there, but I believe I did see that. And we've got him on a loan deal for the season, not paying much in the wage department either, so fingers crossed he'll come in and bang in loads of of goals at this level. With those transfers, we are actually predicted to avoid relegation, and with the best of the promoted teams by the looks of it, we're predicted 21st place, which is still 50 to 1 odds of winning the title, and our team is certainly coming together now. If we look at our best 11 in our current formation, we've got Boyce Clark in goal, who actually played a hell of a lot last year, is now Jamaica's #1 and is developing very nicely. We've got Yiadom, who we know, Tom Holmes at the back, and Nelson Abbey is really coming along in that defensive spot. Now at the age of 20, he's a great player and actually one of our best, a former youth academy product. We've got Dylan Williams on loan at left back, Lee Evans and Clinton Mola in defence. I didn't mention Mola yet, but the Congolese national is 23, formerly again of Chelsea, went to Stuttgart then Blackburn, played for us last year 32 times as a starter, and he's still one of our most important players. Then it's Femi Aziz, Ben Woodburn, Emond, and then Yildiz up top. Like I say, we're not predicted to do great this season. I think first aim in the championship will be to stay up, and then we can build a stable foundation. So let's see what we can do in season 2. And again, I'm actually very impressed with this season. We've not exactly set the world alight, but we have finished solidly mid-table, 20 wins, 18 losses, and 8 draws, getting us 68 points and a goal difference of 23. With this tactic, we either outscore people by a lot or we get absolutely battered by the big teams. Luton, Sunderland, and Norwich, all far better teams than us, have been promoted, but we were way away from the relegation zone, which was great to see. So an upper mid-table finish is certainly pretty good. The FA Cup, we finished in the 4th round against Arsenal, knocked out by them, not too surprising at all, and the Carabao Cup knocked out in the 2nd round by Millwall, but this is certainly a great start for us in the Championship, and our best performers, you might have guessed, are going to be Kenan Yildiz with 26 goals, absolutely smashing it, and will probably go back as a player that could contribute in Juventus' first team straight away. What a talent he is at the age of 20. We also had Kelvin still chipping in with the goals, started 13 times but managed to score 12. Femi Aziz took to the Championship nicely with 11 goals there. Sikaleshi got 9 as well. Ben Woodburn with 7, Emond with 7, goals from all across the pitch, plenty of players getting goals for us as you can see in this list, and that is exactly what we want to see. Financially, the club is in a negative balance, but we are still waiting for our Championship money to come in for the coming season. With that being said, the debts and loans, there really isn't anything there, and we've got £2 million to spend, but a lack of wage budget, so I need to move that around a little bit to make something work there. Dylan Williams looks to be potentially signing as a free agent with his contract expiring at Chelsea after a good first year with us, which is nice to see. We are slowly adding some players to the ranks. We've been improving the facilities as well here at Reading. So season 2 is done. We're in the Championship. We've got a bit more money to spend to keep upgrading this team, but we're going to have to replace Yildiz, which is certainly not going to be an easy job. Before we see the transfers for Season 3 though, just to let you know, I do have a Discord linked in the description if you want to check that out. It's all Football Manager based, a great community of over 700 people over there. You can talk about FM, whether that's asking for advice or showing off your save. You can just talk about real football, or there's chats for generally everything. Great community of people, and I really do suggest, if you do enjoy Football Manager, to check the Discord out. But let's see who we signed and who we sold. And we started off with a sale of Tom McIntyre, a Scottish 26-year-old, an academy graduate who wanted to leave having only started 8 games in the league last year. We got £1.2 million for him from Livingston out in Scotland, but again, we only get a small sliver of that money put back into our transfer budget because the board are taking most of it. Amadou Ngbene was a Senegalese right back where we just had a few too many options in that right back spot, that he wasn't starting that many games. Started 16, mind you, but he had a lot of competition there and he was the most sellable asset in that position. So we've sold him on to Australian side Rapid Vienna for £2.4 million, which goes straight into our balance, and I'm sure he'll do great over there. But our most disappointing sale, but actually is maybe going to help us the most, is Nelson Abbey. He's moved to Nottingham Forest for a fee of £16.5 million, starting off at about 13 mil, and as good of a player as he is, that's a lot of money to us, and I think really, going forward, that's the kind of model we're going to need to follow, develop players, particularly from the academy, and sell them on for big money. He wanted to go when Forest came in. We rejected a few offers, but Forest weren't giving up, so fair play, they paid the money, we get some nice cash in for a great player, but actually that kind of money is a lot for us to reinvest. And reinvest we did. Dylan Williams has signed on a permanent deal, as we mentioned earlier, now 21 years of age and a very handy squad player. We've replaced Kenan Yildiz with a older Turkish international, but a player that's bound to score goals. It's Umut Nayir, a great ability striker coming in from Fenerbahce, where he scored 6 goals in 10 appearances, 9 starts there, coming from a very elite side, so hopefully he'll be able to score goals in the Championship. Charlie Webster signed on a free deal after being let go by Chelsea, and Sredan Milahajlovic is a Serbian 31-year-old who signed from Crvena Zvezda, who I believe is Red Star Belgrade. After a brilliant season for them, this is the first time he's stepping away from Turkey and Serbia, coming over to England to play for Reading FC. Endre Botka is a Hungarian centre-back option, again coming from one of the biggest teams in his nation of Ferencváros and signing for us on a free contract. Jordy Thompson is a brilliant loanee that we've signed from Porto, a great wide option who I think is going to contribute massively to us in this division. We've also signed a Madagascan international, which I never thought I'd say. This is Loic Lapoussin, who is a player that plays on the left-hand side of the pitch. He's been playing for Union out in Belgium after 2 great seasons for them. I'm hoping on a big contract of 20 grand a week, he can be the star player that he wanted to be at the club. But I think secretly our star player this year is actually going to be Abdul Karim Kamara, a Belgian under-21 international who looks like a brilliant striker coming in on loan from Inter Milan. They've paid money for him from Hoffenheim, haven't used him yet, and have now loaned him out to us this season to get some game time, and I do think he could definitely tear it up in the Championship with the attributes that he's got. So our squad is actually looking very strong now for the Championship, I would say. Maybe playoff contention, in my opinion, with Boyce Clark in goal, Botka, Holmes, Mola and Williams as the defence, Ball and Mihailovic in the midfield with Woodburn and Thompson on the wings with Nayir and Kamara as a brand new front two. Let's have a look. Are we now predicted mid-table? We might just be, yes, 15th place. We finished in 9th, 10th place last season, so hopefully we can improve upon it this year in Season 3. And Season 3 ends with us just outside of the playoff positions, finishing in 7th place. 1 point behind 6th place Middlesbrough and also 6th place Hull City. So we were very close to getting in those playoff spots, where it was Southampton that got promoted, and to be fair, I'd expect they would have probably knocked us out of the playoffs as well, but you never know. The Cups, we didn't really go anywhere. Carabao Cup, first round exit to Queen's Park Rangers. FA Cup, Bristol Rovers knocked us out. Would have been nice to have beaten them and progressed further into the competition, but I suppose it was not to be. This season though, we had some real bright sparks. If we go and take a look at our best performers, we have got Umut Nayir coming in with 20 odd goals in the season, 27. I think he was the league's highest goal scorer this year as well. Boyce Clark was exceptional and is now attracting interest of some huge clubs with a lot of money as well, so hopefully we can rake in some big transfer fees for him if someone does come in for him. We've got Charlie Webster doing very well when he has played, Dominic Ball with 6 goals, and then Kamara, the loanee, scored 20 goals across all competitions, really helping us towards that nearly playoff finish. We'll call it a playoff finish, even if it was just out of it. Jordy Thompson was okay on loan as well, Ben Woodburn doing well, and overall, another great team performance and a step in the right direction, and that's what we want to keep doing, just progressing the right way as we go on. And also just want to point out, we had someone in our youth intake called Muhammad Ali who has fairly high aggression, so that was pretty cool. I noticed it come through halfway through the season and thought I had to comment on that. But you'll see our academy coaching is now at 20, our youth recruitment is good, our youth facilities are excellent at a level of 16, and our training facilities are at a rating of 19. Going in to our next transfer window, we've been given £3 million to spend, which we're going to have to work some of that into our wage budget. So again, if we really want to sign anyone, we're probably going to have to sell some players on. And just to prove to you that transfer revenue is still only 25%, despite me asking for it to be boosted quite a lot of times, the board aren't really willing to listen, so we're going to have to manoeuvre well in the transfer market as we head in to Season 4. Remember, this is a 6-season rebuild, so we'll be going a little bit longer than normal, so I'll try and speed through it pretty quickly. And we've had 2 pretty big sales in this 4th season transfer window. Firstly, Femi Aziz, who has been brilliant for us, only started 10 games last season. He wasn't too happy, he wanted to move, so he's gone to Watford in League 1 for 6.5 mil. A League 1 team spending that much money, double our transfer budget on one of our players, is insane to me, but we're still making it work here in the Championship. And it certainly helps when we have big sales. I mentioned Boyce Clark had some interest from Forest and some Saudi Arabian sides, but it was actually Southampton who came in. the Premier League team and offered us 41 million, rising to 45 for the Jamaican international goalkeeper. A brilliant keeper, but you can't reject that kind of money. He wanted to go as well, and when he left, we had a nice little conversation. He said he loved his time here. We said thank you for your service, and it was just a nice mutual parting of ways. We get a lot of cash, and he progresses in his career. And coming in, we've got lots of great talent this year that I think is going to push us to another level. Diego Moreira is on loan from Chelsea. The Belgian 21-year-old has been playing in the Championship recently for Bolton, but is a very talented player, and I think he's going to be world-class for us on the wing. Maybe not quite world-class, actually. Let's tone that down a little bit. He'll be good. Another loanee from a big club, the Iraqi international Zidane Iqbal, has joined us from Manchester United on loan. He's been in the Championship for a few years, so he's been there, done that, and hopefully that means we've got a very good player on our hands. Permanent signings though, we've got Shola Shortire coming in from Man U on a free. Owen Beck is on a free transfer from Liverpool, offering us some depth at left back. We've got a new goalkeeper on our hands, Bulgarian Slavatoslav Vutsov. He's 6'4", has good goalkeeping attributes, isn't as good as Boyce Clark, I don't think, but we're getting him for free, and we sold Boyce Clark for 40 odd mil. Luizao, the Brazilian 24-year-old, is coming in as one of our best centre-backs, having been let go by West Ham. He's been out on loan with Blackburn in the Championship, did well there, and actually played a few times for West Ham in the Prem, so he is a decent level player. Congolese international and former Sunderland man Jay Matete gives us some extra depth in the midfield. And Federico Bonazioli is a 29-year-old former under-21 Italian international with great ability, joining us on a free contract from Salernitana, where he hasn't really been scoring, but I see a player there. Connor Bradley is a coup for us, again on a free transfer from Liverpool, having been let go. The Northern Ireland international is a great player and comes in as one of our best right backs. Nearly there, Rochina has also joined us. The Portuguese 31-year-old has had a big career, but recently has been playing for Sporting Club de Portugal and doing very, very well for them on 15 starts. If he's good enough for the top of the Portuguese division, hopefully he can tear up the Championship. Leo Castelladine is an Englishman coming in from Chelsea at the age of 20, signing on a permanent deal for £1 million, so he actually spent some money. And Leeds striker Joe Gelhardt never really got the chance there. Now 24, we spent £2.75 million on him to give us some extra option up front. And again, our best 11 is looking better and better every year. This is a very talented squad, and I really do think we could go far. If we have a look at the season preview, it's now up to 10th, so we are progressing slowly, but we know we always overperform that preview just a little bit, so maybe we can push for the playoffs this year. After a great season in the league, we finished in 4th place, putting us into the playoffs, where we beat Luton across 2 legs to face off against Middlesbrough in the playoff final. And we got a goal early on in the 28th minute when Botka came into the box, slid it across to find Bonazzoli at the back post of the Italian, tapping it in to make it 1-0. Then on the brink of half-time, we had the ball on the edge of the area with Iqbal. The ball fell through and we managed to steal it back in the box with a big shot from Lapoussin, making it into the top right to make it 2-0 in the playoffs, but we weren't done because in the 54th minute, Iqbal goes forward, plays it to Lapoussin again, who gets down at left-hand side, squares it across to Umut for our 3rd goal scorer of the game. Middlesbrough weren't going to lie down though. Despite being 3-0 down in the playoff final, they didn't give up and managed to find a goal in the 60th minute, putting it into the top right. But then in the 80th minute, to seal the deal, we received the ball on the edge of the area, found Moreira on loan from Chelsea, who put it into the back of the net to make it 4-1, and just to put the icing on top of the cake, in the 86th minute, Iqbal received the ball, found Beck, found Moreira once again in the box, who hit a brilliant shot into the goal off the crossbar to make it 5-1, and that meant we were heading to the Prem. And it really was a brilliant season. Cup-wise, we weren't great, but in the league, we did finish in a very solid 4th spot, not too far away from the 3rd spot where Middlesbrough were, winning 26 games and losing 11. Our squad managed to perform well across the course of the season. We had some real stars in the squad this year, like Bonazzoli getting 24 goals in the Championship, 16 from Nair, who's actually leaving us now to go join a different club with his contract expiring. He didn't want to continue because our squad wasn't strong enough, but you know, we got to the Premier League. What more could you have possibly wanted? Vutsov was great. Moreira was brilliant on loan, a real brilliant loanee signing, as was Iqbal, and it does mean now we're going into the Prem with a pretty poor squad, but we have been given £38 million to spend and 200 grand of wage budget, but still our transfer revenue is only at 25%, so we still need to be quite shrewd with our incomings and our outgoings. And we made pretty light work of some players that we signed last season that didn't work out. We got them straight out the door, like Shola Shortire, moving to Almeria for about 500k. Jay Matet has gone to play in Serie A for Frosinone for 3.3 million. Our new goalkeeper only lasted a year, but that wasn't our choice. He wanted to move after Saudi Arabian side Al Fahd came in and offered us 13 million, and that potentially rises to 16.25. He was great last year, was Vutsov, but he's gone now. And the same for Luis Zhao, who had a release clause activated in his contract by the same Saudi Arabian side, 20.5 million. The player played for us for 1 year, did well, got us promoted, and now we had to buy someone new. And again, we moved quick in the transfer market, making the loan of Zidane Iqbal from Manchester United permanent for 4.4 million. And after a brilliant season in the Championship, Diogo Moreira is joining us as a permanent transfer for about £5 million. Now a free agent after being with Peterborough for a while, Kwame Poku is going to be a good option on the wing. Bogard joins us here on a free contract from Aston Villa, again signing all the free players with any kind of Premier League experience to try and give us that little bit of a boost. It's the same for Iago Santiago, a Spanish wide player who we've picked up from Tottenham on a free. Lucas Casavenda is a Croatian 24-year-old joining on a free from Lokomotiva. He's a great option who can play anywhere in that midfield to give us a lot of depth. Mark Travers is our new backup goalkeeper, having signed on a free from Bournemouth. Our new starting goalkeeper, though, is Poland's number one now, with Szczesny hanging up his boots. It's Kasper Tobias, who's joined us from Nottingham Forest for 3.5 million. Tayo Adaramola is an Irish international left-back option who we've signed from Palace for just over 500k, which is a great deal for a player this good. Silvano Voss has joined from Ajax as a midfield player for 7.5 million, who definitely becomes one of our most talented players at the club at only the age of 21. Amin Aldaki is a Belgian international centre-back joining us from Westerlo for 2.5 million. The scouts rated him highly, so we bought him in. Ronnie Edwards is in on a free contract as well, having been signed by Fulham early on from Peterborough. He was now let go, and I think he offers us a bit of depth at centre-back, and he's a homegrown player. We've also signed Abdul Karim Kamara, the Belgian 23-year-old who was out here on loan a few years ago for 4.9 million. And former Crystal Palace striker Mukhrim Huskovic has joined us at the age of 24 for only a fee of 2.1 million, which to me seems like an absolute bargain. And then we have Cameroonian international 21-year-old Jerome Ongwen just to give us a bit of extra experience. The former Bundesliga player will offer us some competition at centre-back to keep the levels high in our Premier League team. But despite absolutely everything we did there, we're still predicted 20th place, 1,000 to 1 odds of staying up, and no one is really giving us a hope. So this is where our best 11 is currently at. It's looking good, but I really don't think we've got much of a chance of staying up. That being said though, we'll see how we can get on in Season 5. And this is the moment of truth. We didn't do too well in any of the cup competitions, and you will see our name doesn't appear here in the top 16 teams. But if we scroll down a little bit, you will see in 17th place, surviving on only 21 points, which is crazy. Remember, a lot of people say 40 points is what you need to stay up in the Prem. We were nowhere near that. We have finished in 17th place with 6 wins, 3 draws, 18 losses, and a minus 30 goal difference. It didn't matter because thankfully this year, Bournemouth, Forest and Burnley were significantly worse than us, and that did mean in the end we were able to cling on to that Premier League place. It wasn't by much, it's not great, but I think Reading fans will be absolutely delighted with that. And we still got one more season left in this rebuild because we did extend it to see just how well we can do with another year in the Prem. We've got £20 million to spend, and the players that kept us up really that we have to thank are our goalkeeper, as you might expect, Tobias. Silvano Voss was great too, as was Bogard and Dackley when they were called upon. Huskovic got 5 goals, and there wasn't many great goal scorers to be honest. Poku getting 6 was very helpful. Kamara as well, coming in from Inter Milan, also bagged us 6 goals, so there wasn't really any kind of standout performer, but it was enough to get us over the line. You will see I did actually go for a change of tactic before we started the season. We were very aggressive in the Championship and League One, and I didn't think it was going to work in the Prem, and I feel like this tactic is a little bit more balanced at least to give us that extra little bit of threat. We'll see though how it does turn out. That's Season 5 done. We've got 1 year left to go. Money in the bank. The club is progressing nicely. Financially, there's £29 million there. There's nothing really in the debts and loans, and you can see we're building the facilities up here at the club and growing the reputation as well. Reading are on the up. They might not be in real life, but here they are. So let's see what we can do in our 6th and final season's window. The Before we continue though, don't forget to smash the like button if you are enjoying, and subscribe for more. It would be a big help. But let's get back to the transfers. Lucas Casavenda has left the club after only one season to go play for Dinamo Zagreb out in Croatia. Signed on a free, didn't play as much as he would have wanted. He wanted to leave. Croatian side came in for 4.8 mil and we took it very happily. We also say goodbye to our legend in the Championship, Federico Bonazzoli, who didn't really take to the Prem very well. Started 3 times, scored only 1 goal. We did sign a lot of strikers, so he's moved to Hellas Verona for 7 million, rising to 10. Jerome Ongwen is also straight out the door. Didn't really help as much at all last year, so he's gone to Monza in Serie A for 250,000. And Ben Woodburn, who he signed in season 2 or 3, I think it was, on a free transfer, played for us for years, then went out on loan to Ipswich last season and is signed permanently for £15 million, which is a great bit of business, I think. I don't actually think he's that good of a player for that kind of money, so we'll certainly take it. Coming in are some very good players. We didn't go as much quantity this time, but we definitely got quality. Andre Santos coming in, the Brazilian international 24-year-old from Chelsea, having been let go on a free. Never really took off at Chelsea here. Had a few loan spells, didn't play much, but did play in the Championship last season for Leeds, so fingers crossed he'll be good for us. Martin Baturina is in from Newcastle. Again, another wonder kid signed by them that never got the chance, so we were able to pick him up on a free, just like Andre Santos. And that continued as well with Carlos Baleba, signed by Brighton to be the next Moises Caicedo really. Never got a chance after being bought for 23 mil, and again, let go at the end of his contract. In come Reading to pick him up. Nikola Katic is a 31-year-old Bosnian international centre-back with lots of experience, coming in on a free from Zurich in Switzerland, where he's been exceptional, and he's a big physical presence that will hopefully get the best out of here. Dennis Mann signs from Parma on a free. The Romanian international goal scorer plays on the right but cuts in to score goals, as he's been doing for Parma across both Serie A and Serie B for the last few years. We've got a new wide player as well, spending £10 million, which I think might be our record in this rebuild so far. That's on Usman Sarawi from Hereven out in the Eredivisie. The 27-year-old Norwegian is a great player, cutting in on his right from that left-hand side, who I think will definitely benefit from having. And Renan is a Brazilian talent, able to play at left-back and both centre-back. He's joining from Shabab Al Ali from the UAE after some brilliant seasons there, having signed from the Brazilian divisions. 7 mil is the fee, not too much for a player this good. And there we go. This is the team that we have for our 6th and final bonus season, if you want to call it that, with Tobias in goal, Bradley, Voss, Renan and Williams at the back, Baturina and Andre Santos with Dennis Mann, Castelladin, Sarawi and also Kamara, with plenty of good players on the bench as well. Credit to Williams, he's been around here a long time, as has Tom Holmes as well, by the way. He's been here since the start. He's been ticking along nicely and playing lots of football, now club captain, so well done him. But even after 2 seasons of completely rebuilding our Reading side, we're still predicted 20th place, relegation, 1,000 to 1 to win the title. But you know what? We're about to prove everyone wrong, I'm sure. We stayed up last season. Not as many bad teams, I don't think, this year in the Prem, so we're going to have to be at our best to stay up once more. And we certainly were, over doubling our points, I believe, from last season, finishing in 10th with 12 wins, 47 points in total, and only 1 point off 9th place Wolves. It was a great year. The facilities are at a top level as well now, and I think we've done a great job here at Reading, stabilising them in the Premier League, and hopefully any Reading fans watching, I hope everything does get sorted with the club as soon as possible, and they manage to get the owner out. Good luck to them, good luck to Reading, but our rebuild is done, and I'll see you in the next one.